the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
But we've got some Tennessee talk here to jump into on this Tuesday evening. Caleb, biggest reason for optimism against Mississippi State on Saturday is what for you?
There's a lot of unknowns, first off, going into this game. They have played, I don't want to say hardly anyone, but Arizona State, who did have a great win over Baylor this past week, but up to that point did look pretty underwhelming. That's been their toughest. So still quite a few unknowns for Mississippi State going into conference play, but the ability to run the ball looks it's there, which Tennessee wants to do. So I think Tennessee will be able to control the tempo of the game that way. And that's, I think that's especially a year where they're going to rely so heavily on the offense and their ability to not only score, but also move the football. I think if you go into a game where you see that they should have zero problem running the football, whether it's Star Thomas, Deshaun Bishop, or Peyton Lewis, I think that's always going to be a good sign for Tennessee. And I think all three backs will have fine days. And it looks like they may be willing to get Joey Aguilar more involved in it. We'll see. I don't trust we'll see the speed option ever again this season, but it looks like they're more willing to get him involved. So that adds a nice little wrinkle to it as you get into a tough stretch of games here. If Tennessee doesn't control the ball on the ground, I will be shocked, and I will be ready to raise some alarm bells that we haven't had to raise yet.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, Mississippi State beefed up their defensive line. They spent a lot in the portal, beefing up their defensive line versus where they were a year ago. I think Mike McIntyre's defensive analyst has been a big help for them coming in. He's formerly the head coach at FIU, Colorado. I think he's actually George McIntyre's uncle. So I hope they're not talking this week. If I remember correctly, I think his uncle is Mike McIntyre, the defensive analyst for Mississippi State. But yeah, I mean, I do kind of wonder the line being as low as it is. I still got a couple days to make my pick. I mean, this is something I will be shocked if this is not a one-score game with 5 minutes or less in this ball game. Like, I think this is going to be absolutely nauseating. Joe, you're going to love it being in the on field because it's going to be a great game. I think, but I just don't think Tennessee's blowing this team out. I think what you wanted was like an 11 a.m. kick where it's like LSU in 22, where you have that early like I wanted this to be an 11 a.m. one where the crowd's just sleepy, just getting in there, no cowbell really, and then you just blow them out because they're ill prepared. This time it's 3 whatever local time. I don't feel as great. I don't. It's better than night. Like night is this code red. Like night in Starkville in this spot would have been code red for me. But I don't know. I am cautiously optimistic, but I do think this has all the makings of a one-score game that's going to make me physically ill for 4.5 hours.
I think we do need to raise the point, though. I think an earlier game in Starkville might be of concern. I think we should be happy it's not 11. We're talking about some rural blue-collar folk. They're used to getting up at 4, 5, 6 a.m. I mean, this is right around bedtime, so we're not quite there. I think we should have wanted like a 9 p.m. Eastern kick for this one. These people getting settled down. They're having their decaf coffee.
Yeah.
Getting ready for bed. Yeah. Well, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. local.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Starkville is the place you would want.
I don't know. I'm going to have to respectfully disagree on this one. I want no part of Stark Vegas at 8 o'clock.
Here's my thing about Starkville. It is not the things Tennessee can false start at home. There's no amount of cowbells is going to make them false start anymore. So I'm really not too worried about our offense in that regard. Like the mistakes that we just make, apparently. There's nothing that can change it.
I mean, yeah, they had 10 penalties against Georgia, I want to say. Didn't they have 10?
I don't know about offense, but I think that was total, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's just part of the deal. Like hypo coach teams are always going to have we're not going to be a penalty-free unit. Like it's just never going to happen.
There were some big false starts against Georgia. You had the field goal and then you had the one right after the strip sack. I mean, that's, but
As good as
I
his
can't
offensive
handle
line
another
play has
situation
played.
where Max is put in a bad spot where Heupel's just going back and forth. I can't handle it. I can't do two of those in a month time. I can't handle Max being put in a tough spot like that in a couple weeks time. But on the flip side, though, Alex, biggest reason for pessimism against Mississippi State is what for you?
Yeah, I think it's the defense, and I think it's more importantly the secondary. I mean, we saw what happened on Saturday. Jalen Kitna throws for almost 360 yards, and I understand it was reserves in the game, but those are still guys that are going to be playing some snaps because you can't play Ty Redmond the whole game, you can't play Colton Hood the whole game. So, God forbid one of those guys gets hurt, and you have to start dipping into that secondary depth. I think there's going to be some trouble. And look at Blake Shapen, a veteran guy. Mississippi State's got two good receivers, Brendan Thompson, Anthony Evans, two guys who played well in that Arizona State game. So, we'll see. I'm nervous for what Blake Shapen can do in this game because just having a veteran guy back there can be worrisome, especially when he's going up against a young secondary. And Ty Redmond needs to bounce back, and, we'll see how they hold it down, but that would be my biggest concern.
I think that's fair. I mean, the chunk plays, Joey, you saw how Mississippi State beat Arizona State. They had a big goal line stand to force 3, and then it was a chunk play down the field where it was just broken coverage, and Arizona State just got caught napping, and that was it. Game over. It was just kind of one of those deals where it's obviously a different color scheme with Arizona State, but if Tennessee did something like that on Saturday, wouldn't be the biggest surprise based on what we've seen through 4 weeks.
No, even in the UAB game this last weekend, now I was there, and so it was a little harder to actually see it. I hope it didn't look nearly as naked on TV, but there was some drives put together, even by UAB, that on the offensive side or on our defensive side was just agonizing to watch. Just because, again, I'm sure a lot of it's due to just backpedaling a little bit, and you're like, hey, you got this game in the bag. Let's avoid injuries, which is definitely 100% what we need to be doing, but there's still some aspects of chunking that if you can do that to UAB, somebody in conference play is going to take advantage of you like that 100%. And that stresses me out just because I think that I don't know. I don't like to see it.
Yeah, I could see. The thing is that it's just so weird because Boo Carter obviously had the most amount of snaps he's had to this point in the season. 41, I want to say, 41, 43, something like that. And he had 9 tackles, 3 TFLs, 2 forced fumbles, a 34-yard punt return. He also lost a punt in the same game. But Boo giveth, Boo taketh. I wrote about it today. Boo is someone it seems like he's earning more and more trust, but you cannot put Ty Redmond on the field I don't think it'll be a situation where it's so much back and forth where he's going to be asked to play 94 snaps, but you've got to rotate more. You just have to rotate more. And you've now earned, I think Boo seems like the kind of guy who also settles in the more he plays. I feel like the confidence and just the comfortability for him, he needs to get more reps back there. He needs to get more punt return reps, and he needs to get, he just needs to get out of his own head and just get comfortable, because he was one of your key contributors for the majority of last year. I was doing the math. He averaged 35 snaps a game last year. He's averaging 20 through the first 4. It's a big drop, and he's too talented to keep out the field. And I think if you can rotate McMurray between star and corner to relieve Ty a lot in this game and let Boo get closer to that 35-ish snap count, Tennessee's better off. And because, they were force feeding Sidney Walton out there on Saturday. They were throwing a lot of guys out there to try. William Wright was out there for a little bit. You go down the list and you're like, man, I don't know. Are you really going to do that instead of just playing Boo more snaps at star and sliding McMurray down? Would you really go down that road? I'm very curious what Tim Banks and Willie do on Saturday, because I think you have to learn from some of your mistakes against Georgia where you just can't put that. I like Ty Redmond a lot. You just cannot put him in that same spot if Blake Shapen and company are torching you again.
That's the thing that I've been thinking about is, you got to understand as the fire truck rolls by, that
good timing though, after my little rant right there.
Sound the alarms because Ty Redmond's playing the whole game. I don't know. It's tough. He's, we saw what he could do against Syracuse, played a great game, but still a young kid and true freshman. It's a lot on a guy to play that many snaps. And this is first road start. There's just so much that could go wrong here. So I'm with you, Chase.
But on the flip side, Jackson Moy probably back. That'll really help the interior. I think you found something with Dominic Bailey. Dom, you have a conversation with this week. Sorry, you're now an interior guy for the foreseeable future because I think he's more helpful for Tennessee in the interior, especially if they can get away with their top 4 being Nathan Robinson, Jackson Moy, Bryson Easton, and Don Bailey as their 4 interior guys. They mostly rotate between. I feel pretty good about where Tennessee's at. You still want David Hobbs back, and he's kind of that difference maker eventually, but I think I feel a lot better if those are your 4 that you're rotating in. Because you also get a lot more from Tyree Weathersby right now. Like I just feel a lot better about where Tyree West is at. I feel good about where Weathersby's at. And Marion Dye, I think, has come on where he can steal 10 to 15 snaps for you. I think at strong side defensive end. So I think that's something that probably needs to continue, especially on the road here in Starkville. But yeah, I would be surprised if Mississippi State's able to run it down Tennessee's throat. I also just would not be surprised if the chunk plays where Blake Shapen, what happens on 3rd and 6? What happens on 4th and 4 when Lebby and Blake Shapen go for it? Is Tennessee going to be able to get off the field? Because UAB was 2 for 3 on 4th down in that game on Saturday. Like it's been a problem. Tennessee just cannot get off the field again on 3rd and 4th down in a lot of spots. And you're going to have to. You're on the road here. And Blake Shapen, 23-year-old quarterback, he's another veteran. Like, I don't know. I worry about that in a lot of ways of Tennessee just not getting off the field.
Yeah, and I mean, I think even more so, that's more critical on the road. They can probably be a little bit more. They don't have to be as cautious in areas. They can, press those moments a little more. Those tough 3rd downs, those tough 4th downs. You have the crowd on your side. You can, if you fail to convert, it may not be as big a loss. And that's where Tennessee. I'm at the point. Maybe it's too early. Your defense is what your defense is. Like I would haven't completely given up on them because I think there are playmakers, and when you get the interior line healthy, it's going to look better. But they just are what they are at this point. Your offense, though, is what they are, and they just have to keep that first foot forward. You can't have 28 minutes of gameplay, especially all it's not that you can't have 28 minutes of it. You can't have 28 minutes straight of gameplay where you fail to move the ball, where you fail to score. That's just you're not going to win a single football game doing that. Now it sucks that it happened against a team like Georgia, but especially them, they're going to take advantage of that. Blake Shapen worries me. It's more so the combination of Jeff Lebby and Blake Shapen. You're seeing Jeff Lebby, a guy who, like Josh Heupel, they're very familiar. They run very similar. They're going to put their quarterbacks in situations where not only can they make plays, but they're not as likely to create negative plays. He's not gonna. They don't throw the ball just at will downfield, and so there's not a ton of turnovers. Like they're only throwing it to open guys.
Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas podcast. Hell yeah.